Hey guys, this is Gary,
And it's Joe, and it's your boys.
the Los Pinches Niños. Alright, today guys, we're going to be talking about Sanji and Sanji's backstory. Sanji's a really cool character. I kind of relate to him a lot because as of right now, me and Joe both work in the kitchen, and it's kind of cool seeing, someone on a pirate ship. Obviously, they have to have a cook, but it's kind of cool seeing that, he's really important. Most of the time, cooks are kind of put aside in animes, I think, and just like a side funny character, like this. It's just really funny guy, but Sanji's actually really serious for the most part, and has some really cool, lines. It's really cool stuff. So today we're going to talk about him, and Joe, you can lead it off.
Yeah, so it's Sanji, also known as Black Leg Sanji. He's the fourth member officially of the crew, fifth unofficial. But you get far enough along, you know why. But yeah, Sanji, like you said, I like Sanji just because the whole chef thing is really interesting, and he's pretty good at it too, and he's strong. That's kind of a reoccurring theme in the Straw Hat Pirate lifestyle, is like you have to be strong enough to kind of carry your own weight a little bit. And you look and they fight pirate crews that have 50 to 100 to 1,000 men, and they use 4 people. 4 to 5, and so it's kind of an ongoing thing. Everybody is badass in their own way. But Sanji's just, he's always reminded me of that fighting style of Eddie and Tekken.
Yeah.
It just, it kind of hits me a little bit more in the nostalgic factor for that as well. So.
Well, I didn't even think about that.
No, but you know what I mean? He just goes on doesn't move like it, obviously, but when he's doing the spinning hand kicks and stuff like that, like the only time I've ever seen anything similar is earliest was Eddie on Tekken, you know what I mean? I just never seen anything like that, so thought that was an interesting fighting style. But we'll go ahead and start on the backstory. Carrie, you want to go ahead and kick that off? And
yeah. So, from what I remember from seeing it is Sanji was on his boat. It was it's a big, I guess, passenger boat or something. They were passing through the ocean or something like that, just like a civilian boat or maybe a marine boat. I couldn't remember, but
I don't think it was Marines.
Yeah, I think it was civilians, but they get raided by some pirates, and it happens to be Zeph's and Zeph's pirates, and they get raided. It's a really bad storm. Well, for the most part, Zeph's just gonna leave after looting him. Not gonna kill him, I don't believe. Just gonna let him go, just loot him for what they got, and bounce. Well, Sanji falls in the ocean. It's a big ass storm, and he knows this kid's not gonna be able to swim, so he dives in after him. Kind of cool, Not this heartless pirate, just gonna dive in after a kid. Well, something interesting happens when Zeph dives in. Now, we're gonna talk about the difference between the anime and the manga, but for right now, just for the moment, since from what I know, the only anime difference, so it's Sanji's down there and he's pretty much drowning. He is drowning. He's passed out. Yeah. Zeph gets his leg caught between a boat or one of his ships and a large piece of the other ship or something.
I think it was the anchor. I think it was the chains on the anchor.
Chains
on the anchor, and it all tightened up, and he just didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah. Well, he ends up chopping his leg off. That's the anime. So that's still pretty cool. That's a really cool.
Badass.
We'll talk about the differences and which one we like better, but it's pretty badass. So while his leg is, bleeding out, he swims down, grabs his kid Sanji, pulls him back up or whatever, and it cuts into, like, the next day. They're on this island, and no one's around. I don't know what happened. They got washed up or whatever, but it was pretty bad. And at the moment, you don't know that, again, in the anime, that Zeph's leg is gone. So I think it's pretty cool.
He didn't show it or express it at all. He was pretty stoic the whole. Not stoic. I'm not really sure. I guess stoic in a sense because he gave Sanji a bag of food. They're stuck on this island. He's like, make it last. You don't know how long we'll be here. And, they're panning out and there's nothing. They're actually kind of perched up on top, so they can't even really get close enough really to the bottom of the island to actually fish or anything.
Yeah.
So all they have is that food, and I think it was 40 something day, 3 weeks, 40 something days. It was
some weird number like that, but I remember it not being a ton of time considering they're out in the sea.
Yeah.
It's considering the timeline, people don't pass by, but every 60, 70 days. So it's not looking too good for your boy Sanji and Zeph.
Yeah. And Sanji drops his last piece of moldy bread in the ocean. He was so sad. And
Yeah.
you remember, I guess he was passenger ship. He was cooking and he threw food away. And some of the chefs kind of, like, hey, like, he's like, why are you guys eating the leftovers of other people? And like,
That's right.
like, we're not supposed to waste food. They kind of flash back to that moment when he was like willingly throwing food away and he's starving. And I mean, they both looked really bad by the end of that whole ordeal.
Yeah, that's right. That kind of plays into
skin and skeleton bones people.
Yeah. It plays into Sanji's backstory because, let's go ahead and talk about the difference real quick. Yeah, so in the middle, so the difference between the anime and the manga was Zeph in the anime cuts his leg off to save Sanji. Well, in the manga, Zeph cuts his leg off and eats it so that Sanji can have the food.
All the food.
All the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He eats his own leg as his only fuel, which is, way more badass, but a lot more grotesque. And obviously that's why they made a change in the anime, but it's definitely more badass in that way that he chose to give the kid all the food.
Yeah.
Sanji does go over and try to find out, like, hey, like, you have this whole bag of food for yourself. And you say it's because you're bigger. And he cuts it open and it was treasure.
Yep.
And he's like, all this stuff's worth money, but, like, what does it matter if you don't have any food and you die?
It's worth nothing.
And that's when Sanji noticed his leg was gone.
Yeah.
And all that. And eventually some people came around, picked him up. And then Zeph ended up starting his own restaurant, the Baratier, in the middle of the ocean. It's just like a floating restaurant ship. And anybody who comes in can eat and get fed. And you start off there with that one stupid Marine guy with the...
Oh, yeah, Iron Fist.
Iron Fist, yeah.
Yeah, that little pretty boy. Yeah, he plays into a little bit later.
Not too much, but yeah, that's the first little bit you see of it.
He just finds out Luffy and his crew have a bounty. I think that's what he plays in a little bit later. But
yeah,
no, Sanji kind of puts a rest to that because I guess they had a problem with their wait staff or something. They
got food.
Yeah, and Sanji was waiting or something, just to help out, and this guy was being rude, and Sanji kind of kicked his ass.
He deserved it.
Right in front of his girl too, so it's kind of cool.
He might not deserve that, but he deserved it.
No, he definitely deserved it. He's a douche. Yeah, most Marines are douches. That was pretty cool. Right there, you kind of tell Sanji doesn't take any shit. And then you kind of later learn that, why he uses his feet instead of his hands. And I think that's really cool about Sanji. Something really cool. It's like he uses his feet because his hands are so valuable to him because of how much he uses them for, right? He'd rather something happen to his feet than his hands because it's a lot harder to cook with your feet than it is with your hands.
Yeah.
So Joe's seen people eat with their feet.
Yeah, once it was I had to do a triple take. It was probably the oddest thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
One of the most amazing and most greatest things.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was never will I see anything like that again. But it was inspiring that she came out and was gonna do whatever she could to live a normal life on that one. But it's just definitely something I'm not expecting to see that day.
Yeah, what a brave person. And anyway, so yeah, that's kind of one of Sanji's one of his takes, right? One of his little gimmicks is he's gonna fight with his feet. He's a kicker, Another thing is, they seem to catch on pretty quick was the women. Sanji's got a problem. he's got a lover boy fanatic. He's got a just his thing for women, especially for someone named Nami, which we'll talk about.
Nami-san.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting to me. Kind of like a mix of like a Master Roshi and a. Gosh, I don't know who else you'd mix with that because Master Roshi's always got a fucking problem with that.
Yeah, well, it's the same, pretty much the same artwork too. Like
it really is.
The blood shooting out of the nose and the hard eyes and just it's the same character, same character flaw, I guess, in that department. If you've seen Master Roshi, you can kind of automatically assume how Sanji's going to be acting. Obviously, Sanji is more important than Master Roshi, especially later on in the other the stories and stuff. Like Dragon Ball. Pretty, prominent, but, we grew up on Z, he'd show up every once in a while. But it's the very same character flaw in that regard. It kind of always gets his ass into trouble. And, he won't fight women because of it, which, you can respect and be like, okay, that's good for you, man. But he does get his ass kicked a couple times because of that. But he does have a problem with the pretty ladies. And, Nami being, the number one, of course.
Yeah. So, then comes up something really cool with this arc is this really starving pirate. I guess you may not know he's a pirate. Crawls in to this restaurant, begging for food, and one of the cooks says, this isn't free, and starts laughing or whatever, and kind of kicks him out. I think actually kicks his ass pretty hard. It was the guy with like the big Popeye muscles.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but kicks his ass, kicks him out. Anyway, this guy's like dying of starvation on the side of the ship, Sanji's and Zeph's ship, and Sanji comes out with a plate of food. It says, I'm going to feed you. He's like, are you going to get fired for this? He's like, well, no one's around to see or whatever. I don't care. You're going to eat. You're hungry, right? Guy ends up eating, crying, says the best food he's ever had. So obviously right there, right from the get-go, Sanji's a badass cook.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're starving, anything's going to taste good, but this guy, it's kind of made to a point throughout the entire story, Sanji knows what he's doing. So we'll get to more on that later, which I had forgotten, in Lobetown, he'd won that cooking contest against that lady, the chef. They had gone from ship to ship fighting all the best cooks. I'd forgotten about that, but which is really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, feeds this guy. Well, this guy leaves, comes back with his captain, and I guess at the moment you don't know who this guy is, this captain, but it's none other than the fucking bitch boy Don Krieg.
Fuck Don Krieg.
Fuck Don Krieg. You'll get to know pretty soon that we don't like Don Krieg. He's a bitch. He's a little cunt, and we'll never forgive him for everything he's done. Sanji feeds his ass, okay? And from the get-go, I know this is a bad idea. Like, I thought feeding the other guy was a bad idea. But I was this guy, This guy's
an actual bounty.
Yeah.
He's known as one of the most powerful pirates.
This guy's got this huge-ass jacket, but yet he's bare. Like, okay, this guy was obviously fucking swole. Not but like 20 days ago. And you're telling me you're going to feed this guy... And, well, Sanji doesn't. Sanji does it because Sanji's not going to let anyone go hungry, which is really cool. But, again, in lies a possible weakness with Sanji. Just pretend like you're starving, and guess what? You can scissor kick Sanji in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Anyway, he feeds Don Krieg. Don Krieg gets pissed, gets all happy and shit, or whatever you want to call it. Starts kicking ass. Starts wrecking ship. He's got these big ass weapons, like you said, he's the first of the kind you get to see with like machinery.
Tech and stuff,
Yeah.
like higher end tech. The rest of the story it's just like normal pirate stuff, and that's the first time you kind of see like in missiles and guns and like stuff like like flintlocks, but actual like technology, which is interesting. But ends up getting his ass kicked by Luffy. But he does go in there, and after being fed, people helping him out. It's like, oh man, like please, I'm starving. And they're like, okay, we're gonna like feed you, and then your just next response is just like, okay, well now I'm gonna burn this place to the ground, fuck all of you.
Yeah.
And that's that's just the Don Krieg thing to do, and you don't do that.
No.
So
Yeah, that was pretty interesting, man. I that's kind of the reason I just don't like Don Krieg. That is such a scummy thing to do, man. There's a lot of scummy pirates out there from what I've seen, but like this guy, you're on the brink of death. I think that could change pretty much everyone from start. Obviously, it changed Zeph. It changed Zeph into changing what he wanted to do in life. It changed Sanji into not wasting food. But yet this guy, the only thing it did for him was, like, revamp his hunger for treasure. And, like, realize, hey, this boat is cool as shit. I want it. Like, me and my crew are going to take over this thing. And, like, I hate that, man. That is the scummiest thing. That's why throughout here and there, you might hear a couple fuck Don Kriegs. He's just a bitch, and he'll forever be known as that. So if your name's Don Krieg, I'm sorry, you're a bitch. Hi, I'm Carrie. Anyway, so after that, Luffy beats Don Krieg's ass. It's fun, whatever. Sanji gets recruited by Luffy. All cool and all, after the whole crying sesh they have on the Brody arc and all that, and really cool. Well, they head off to Fishman Island, or
the Arlong Park.
Arlong Park, yeah. Head off to Arlong Park, and that's a pretty cool arc, man. That's probably one of my favorites, and has a lot more to do with Nami, but Sanji has some cool things in there too.
Fights the fishman karate guy. He has those fins almost look like swords coming off of his elbows.
Karubi.
I think you're right. Yeah, Karubi, and then you had obviously Hachi. Mentioned.
Yeah.
The Zoro video, but yeah, Karubi. That was an underwater fight, and that was kind of cool. And also the first time you really get to see Fishman karate too, which obviously first time you see Fishman, so Fishman karate comes a little bit later, but he is the only person I think on the crew that knows how to use it.
Yeah, and that was a cool part too, that underwater fight, because Luffy had gotten stuck underneath water. That's the first time we had seen Luffy actually get stuck, and they had to pull his head up, and I think it was Luffy and Zoro and I believe Nami, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah, they were, or no, it was that old man, the town old man, was down there trying to resuscitate Luffy, and it was kind of cool while going on, Zoro and everyone's trying to fight everyone, but yeah, pretty cool stuff in there. In Arlong Park, you kind of see a little bit the start of what I see to be a little rivalry or a little feud between Sanji and Zoro.
It's a big feud. Feud. They're always Moss Head.
Yeah.
It gets crazier.
So I'm pretty excited about that, because I think that'll forever be a debate of like who can kick whose ass. And unfortunately for now, from what I've seen, like we said in the Zoro, thing, Zoro's pretty rarely healthy. The dude has a problem with being healthy. So I think up to till he's healthy, I think it's pretty sure that probably Sanji can kick his ass.
Sanji's strong. Like Sanji's definitely especially right now at the end of the time you get to Log Town, Reverse Mountain. Sanji's definitely no doubt the third strongest person on the crew.
Yeah.
Luffy being the first, and then whoever you want to position at that point, whether it be Zoro or Sanji. But you do have a good point in that he's always hurt. He's never.
If he's not hurt,
available.
I think it's a different story. I think Zoro can kick his ass, but I think that's part of Zoro's character, is that the dude is literally always hurt. So that's kind of the problem, And I'm not sure that that can be, not just disregarded. If he's always hurt, that's kind of his character. Maybe it's like saying like a football player like
Gronk.
Yeah, like, if we had Gronk, we'd be so much better. Well, you're never gonna have him. Or J.J. Watt, for instance. He's played 10 games in 4 seasons. He's amazing. Great. Give me a fucking player who can actually play. I'll take anyone.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. But I think eventually, Zoro does get healthy, so that's a different story. But as of right now, from what I see, he's not healthy. But again, he is still my favorite character. Don't get me wrong. He's by far and away my favorite character. Please don't get that wrong. Fuck Don Krieg. And yeah, so that's pretty much it on Sanji. He's a cool ass character.
Well, there's one thing I really hit on too. That's Zeph and Zoro's dream are both to find the All Blue.
Yeah.
It's another one of the things, like every person on the crew has a dream. Obviously Luffy wants to be king of the pirates. Zoro wants to be the strongest swordsman. Sanji's the All Blue. And the whole concept of the All Blue is just a place where fish from all the 4 oceans, the east, west, north, and south, all combine, and you can find any fish from the world in that one place. And obviously as a chef, somebody of Sanji's caliber, having everything that you could ever want as an ingredient at your disposal is like a paradise.
Yeah.
So, and there was something that Zeph also believed in.
Yeah.
So it's another kind of one of those inherited will type things of the Straw Hats. It's very common in the character development with them. But I really I just like Sanji a whole lot.
And another thing, in Lopetown, in that contest, they had won against that chef, that lady chef. He had won.
I don't remember this, but it's been a minute. Yeah.
He had won a fish that was from another ocean, and they were talking. And Sanji had gotten excited, like, "Oh my gosh, this is a sign of the All Blue." It's like, how did this fish get over here?
Yeah.
Considering that there might be, a stream off the All Blue or something that came in these.
Yeah.
People. So that was pretty cool. He won that fish in the contest and was like, I gotta have this. Like, this is personal. This is what I want in life.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting, and All Blue is definitely kind of a really weird subject matter in and of itself. But same thing. You can't talk about the Straw Hats, about what their backstories and their dreams, and like kind of the really upsetting thing that occurred to them, and kind of where they're wanting to go.
Yeah.
But Sanji's just to me like really interesting. Like I said, I've always found the fact he doesn't use his hands super fascinating because it also kind of shows the level of devotion. Like he could possibly use his hands, but he kind of takes what he does so serious that he's not willing to risk it.
Yeah. Well, also, fuck Don Creek.
That too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't ever forget that.
Don't forget the fuck Don Creek.
Yeah, don't forget that. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, I like that. Sanji's he's awesome, man. So that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. This is Scary.
This is Joe.
This is Los Pinches Niños.
We're out.
See ya.